Hi and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 and possibly some other things podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean.
Chris. Lee.
Now, are you sure that any of us aren't Daniel Abt?
Not today.
You can't see my head.
Yeah, that's true. Since we stopped doing these on video temporarily, we don't know who everyone is. Right. If you are Daniel Abt, stand up. Right, there we go. None of us are.
No.
Anyone see that yesterday? That was amazing.
I haven't seen it. I've seen the fallout from the Formula E race at home thing. I have seen like a little bit of video where he wasn't showing his face, and then Stoffel Van Dorn was like, "I'm not having that. That's not Daniel," and actually got his mobile phone out to ring Daniel Abt, who did not answer his phone. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit naughty, but I mean, does it matter really?
Did he actually get a 10 grand penalty?
Was it not 30?
No, it was. He's been told to donate 10,000 euros to a charity of his choice.
It's a mandatory donation, I think was the phrase they used.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, right, when I was watching the Legends race at the weekend, I turned around to my girlfriend and I said, "Well, it's I think it's good in a way. I mean, I'm not saying like poor multimillionaires, but it's good in a way that these people will put the time in on a Saturday every single week to do stuff that they wouldn't normally do, which gives us something to watch." So does it really matter? Does it matter to the point of a penalty, like a financial penalty?
I think in some cases it does, because I mean the Formula E stuff, the Race at Home series there, that is actually raising money for UNICEF.
They got real sponsors as well, haven't they, involved with that? So there is company affiliations with the actual Formula E esports.
Maybe, but then again, were you talking about an esport thing, and then you're talking about like actual sports? Should he have to do it? Do you know what I mean? If he doesn't want to do it, or should he have to be pressured into it? Especially if he sucks at it. What if he just sucks at playing computer games?
Yeah, but I mean, if he's signed up to do it, and bearing in mind the team actually has his team has his name on it.
Yeah, maybe.
And he's representing his sponsors as well, who have put money into his team. And he then goes and makes everybody look a little bit stupid.
I just don't.
Fair enough. Say
to think it's important.
If you don't want to do it, or you don't think you're good enough, or you're not up to it, then just say I'm not capable of doing this. I don't want to do it.
But is it not better for his name just to be making the money for the charities? Is it if it is just down to charity?
Yeah, but why not?
Shouldn't it just be about making the money for the charity?
Yeah, but then why not say, well, I'm not going to do it. I've got this other guy in place of me, and then make out that it's him, and then stick a large camera sideways on in front of somebody else's face, so you can't see who it is. Although in that screenshot that I saw, it looked like he was lurking in the background.
Someone's in the background, isn't it? You can see someone's like jeans just slightly off screen.
Yeah.
It just to me seemed like another thing for people to get like pretend they're upset about.
Oh, it's not being.
What else have we got to do at the moment?
Oh, it's not being upset. It's just how the hell it's like when the mask comes off the ghost in Scooby Doo. You know it's going to be old Mr. Johnson from the amusement park, but you still watch it every week.
I mean, it's Formula E. Fucking 8 people watch the real sport.
I wondered how long that was going to take.
In the real.
I'm sure Daniel Apt's one fan, his mother, I'm sure she was very disappointed in him.
In the real Formula E, though, they are always particularly sticklery for the rules. They have a rule where if your underwear does not comply with the regulations, you can be disqualified.
Reason 456 why Lee won't watch another fucking race.
I'm pretty sure Formula One have an underwear regulation as well,
I don't know that it's as rigorously enforced as it is in Formula E. I think they've had like 4 drivers disqualified in one race before now for having presumably not entirely fire retardant pants.
dear.
Well, I mean, fireproofs. That's fine. David Coulthard
it's
wore the
not.
same pair.
No, wait.
David Coulthard wore the same pair of boxers for his entire career. They were his lucky boxers.
Yeah, but wait a second. Why do they have to wear fireproof underpants in an electric car with no fuel?
Electrical fires.
Would you want to take
just-
an electric shock to the underwear region?
Oil fires? I was having an argument. I was having an argument on Twitter a while back with somebody who was claiming that Formula E was all electric, so there weren't even any lubricants in there.
Oh dear. Oh no. There are lubricants, but they're all.
they're all electric ones.
No, they're all. What's the word for them? They are. They're not like zero emissions. They're like clean lubricants. And like the generators that power them are even powered by like clean. The generators that power the stuff that produce the lubricants are even powered by clean energy. So it's trying to be as clean as possible. The lubricants in Formula E.
But according to this argument I've had, they're all trying to be as dry as possible as well.
Yeah, you
That's what you use lubricant for, isn't it?
You can run an electric motor without lubricants, but probably not on that scale. And also, wheels need bearings, and bearings definitely need lubricant.
Exactly. But anyway, Formula E cars can burst into flames.
And brake fluid is a thing as well.
No, they use gravel. Well, actually, most of the drivers do use the gravel as a brake.
Or Nick Heidfeld.
Back to the world of disappointment.
Can we talk about some professional motorsport?
Formula One.
Yes. When we will see it is confirmed, where we will see it has now been thrown into doubt by the UK government. First two races, definitely Austria as things stand. And now it looks like the British Grand Prix and the other Silverstone race, because apparently they're all going to have different names now. Yeah.
British Grand Prix 1 and Silverstone Race 2.
Yes. They now may not be going ahead on the 26th of July and the 2nd of August. Because the UK government are bringing in regulations where anyone arriving in the UK from the 8th of June has to go into isolation quarantine for 14 days.
That would make Hungary the second or third round of the championship.
So, yeah, Hungary are ready to step in and do the second location for races, possibly races 3 and 4.
Please let's not have two races in Hungary.
Hungary's all right.
It can be a procession, though.
You can
It's
get a
usually
few.
okay.
You can get odd results as well, can't you? I think particularly if it's early in the season, that could be like who knows what on the podium.
97 wasn't a procession.
No, 97 wasn't a procession, but
That was
the problem I've
23
got-
years ago.
Jesus Christ. The problem I've got with that is it tends to be a car does really well. You expect like the Red Bull to do really well or something like that, and it could almost be like a gimme for one team. Do you know what I mean? There's like there's always like this like a one standout team which crushes Hungary.
Yeah, but seeing as we've not actually seen any cars on track since February, and that was 15 years ago, we don't know who's going to be good.
Oh no, we don't know. But what I mean is, you might literally get the same race twice, because cars can't overtake very easily there, and it would be like having two Monacos. Nobody wants two Monacos.
They should use different tyre compounds.
That would make it interesting.
I mean, it would be good if you could do that race backwards. That wouldn't be awful if they could do that. I mean, there's sand pits everywhere around that track, isn't there?
They are quite generous with the runoff there.
Yeah, it's full of Formula E wheel bearing lubricant.
Well, it's called Monaco without the barriers, isn't it? Hungary, the Hungaroring.
Yeah, I have heard it referred to as that.
Why can't we have like two Spas or two Austins?
Can't have Austin because their state has said no for the time being because Corona. Can't have Belgium until at least the arse end of August because politicians
28th
say
of
no.
August.
Yeah. Officially, there's no sport in Belgium until September, but they have made an exception for F1.
Is Austin is on the provisional calendar though, isn't it?
It is,
For later
but
on in the year.
currently it's a no-go. They're working on the basis that by that time things will have improved.
Cool. Because I think they are starting to open up. They're one of the states, aren't they? That are
Yeah,
opening things
New
up now.
York. New York this week made changes allowing professional sport to do like practices and training and that kind of thing. So it's starting to relax.
So there's still no go for the New Jersey Formula E race then?
Not sure what the New Jersey rule is. New York,
If it's
yes.
preferred,
New Jersey,
I was just going on professional sports.
I see.
So, yes, it looks like Silverstone could be delayed. I'm trying to find the provisional calendar that we had previously, but that appears to have vanished from everywhere. You can tell how on the ball and clued up we are tonight.
How on it we actually are.
And you can also tell it's been a bank holiday, and you don't do anything on bank holidays, do you?
Not really.
I worked today.
Yeah, I worked.
All right, 50% of the population do nothing on bank holidays.
I have the provisional calendar if you want
Me
it.
and,
What was your
me and
question?
Paul don't do anything.
Yeah, what are the European races as they stand on that?
So, do you want all the funny names with them? Because at the moment it's starting with the Austrian Grand Prix, and then it's the Red Bull Ring 2 the following week. Then July into August is meant to be British Grand Prix, followed by Silverstone Grand Prix, or on the provisional calendar it was Hockenheim as the alternative.
Right.
So potentially, if Silverstone is a no-go, it could end up being maybe Hungary and then Hockenheim. Then it's Spain, Belgium, Italy, Azerbaijan. Are we counting that as European? And then Russia.
We did once.
Interestingly, at the arse end of the calendar, it's Bahrain 2, followed by Bahrain.
So
Bahrain 2, Bahrain 1.
so the kind of Star Wars in it, and the actual Bahrain Grand Prix 1 isn't going to be anywhere near as good as Bahrain the sequel.
Yeah, Bahrain, the official Bahrain Grand Prix with the F2, F3 support races is on the 6th of December, and the bonus one has been stuck in the week before.
But don't watch Return of the Desert before you have watched The New Sand.
Otherwise, you won't know who anyone's dad is.
No.
And as for the Phantom Gravel, forget it. So at the moment, everything appears to be very up in the air. Which we've kind of been saying that all along this year so far.
That's the only thing we've been able to say, and we're nearly halfway through the year.
Yeah.
That is a worrying thought.
I think we'll be right. I'm just looking forward to like rolling round closer and getting some sort of cars on track.
Well, put it this way: by this time next month, we should definitely be looking forward to a race a week away. We may be able to do a preview.
Good God, how do we do those?
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to old episodes. Just yeah, you're gonna have to listen to the back catalogue just to find out what we used to do. Yeah, I take it we're doing a past the disaster predictor for this season as well.
Yeah, he's going to turn up somewhere, surely.
I am amazed with the number of ex-drivers that have been turning up in various virtual series. We haven't seen him or Johnny Chicotto anywhere.
Christ.
No, I was totally waiting for Pasta to turn up in the Formula One esports, and I was like, who's he going to drive for? And then it dawned on me, no one wants him.
Why is that suddenly popped up just as we're talking about this?
I've just gone to look at Pastor Maldonado's Instagram, and on the 14th of May, he posted a black screen with the letters, "Who wants Pastor Maldonado back?"
Did anyone put their hand up?
10,218 people liked it. I don't know whether that means
Do they
yes.
all Do they all work for the Venezuelan fuel company?
I was just going to say that number is Venezuela.
Although one of them was Daniel Abt.
He could. I mean, Renault have got a seat. It could happen.
Oh shit!
And of course, Cyril has said that Renault aren't going to be announcing the new driver until after racing starts.
Oh, that would be the comeback to end all comebacks, literally, because he'd wipe everyone out.
He's then the following day, actually the same day, posted a picture of his 2012 race win, just to remind people he is a race winner.
That doesn't even sound right when you say it. That sounds like you've just dropped in from a different fucking dimension when you say things like that.
He's
It's
also
not right.
21 hours ago, he posted a collection of his lower formula podiums from Monaco. He has 3 wins and 5 podium.
At Monaco?
At Monaco.
I remember the year he definitely didn't win at Monaco when he ploughed into everyone.
Yeah, funnily enough,
But
none
laps
of
to go.
Yeah, none of these are from his Formula 1 times.
Yeah, not surprised.
I mean, he's only got all these podiums in lower formulas because, I mean, it's standard rule, isn't it? You break it, you buy it.
He beat Fernando Alonso at his home race.
I can still remember. That day, and I was just like, because after qualifying, it's just like, oh my god, how did he do that? Oh, that's one of those just like weird weird pole positions that just kind of, he'll be like 4th place by the end of like lap 1, and he'll disappear. He may not even finish in the points.
Like when Hulkenberg randomly got a pole, was it in Brazil?
Yeah.
By the end of lap 1, it was done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, by the end of that one, his dream was over. I was expecting something very similar for Maldonado, and I remember watching the first lap, and I thought he's doing all right here. He's doing okay, and then Alonso got into the lead. I think it was like the second lap or something. Alonso got into the lead.
It was lap 1, according to Wikipedia.
It was what, the first corner?
First lap.
Oh, first lap. Okay. I remember Alonso getting into the lead and just thinking, oh, that's it now then. Like, the best he can hope for is second, but I don't even think he'll hold on to that with, Hamilton, Vettel, Webber, etc., all behind him. And then when Alonso made that pit stop and then Pastor Maldonado took the lead of the race again, I was just like, oh, this will be fun. Pastor gets to lead the race for a little bit. And then Williams made that pit stop. And when he came out ahead of Alonso, I was just like, wait a second. I was like, no. I was looking at the amount of laps left, and I was looking at the times. I was just like, nah, Alonso's going to catch him. And Alonso just didn't catch him. And I don't know what happened. But Maldonado won the race. And it was just the weirdest sensation, because I think that year we had like 7 different winners for the first 7 races. But at no point did anyone ever think that one of those 7 winners would be Pastor Maldonado?
Do we know who got the fastest lap in that race, by the way?
No.
It was Romain Grosjean.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, God. Wait a second. So, okay, so we need one more terrible thing to happen for it to be the trifecta of the worst race weekend in history.
Didn't Williams burst into flames shortly after the race finished?
I think, was it not Senna's car? I think it was Bruno Senna's car that blew up rather than the Maldonado.
It was somebody's KERS unit. I remember that much. And someone had to run into the garage and carry Frank Williams out.
It was Maldonado, wasn't it? Wasn't it Maldonado went back in to get Frank?
What a hero. What a day that was for him.
Yeah, because I think he was quite praised for it at the time.
Managed to get him out of the garage without bumping into anybody else.
Oh no, I like it because it's kind of a Avengers thing, isn't it? It's like, today Maldonado does not smash. Today Maldonado save.
Anybody fancy a watch party later on this week?
The 2012 Spanish Grand Prix.
I think we might have to do the 2012 Spanish Grand Prix. What's everyone like for Thursday night?
Don't know yet. Actually,
Don't know.
I have to find out.
For Thursday at the moment.
We will sort something out, because I think it needs to happen. We need to watch that race with company or support group. More likely.
Support group, yeah. Support group definitely more likely.
Right, so slightly going on the running order in the other ways, but yes, Renault have said no driver replacement for Ricciardo until after racing has started.
I was going to say no driver replacement for Ricciardo, so they're just going to run one car.
It's Ocon,
no, you followed it up. Yeah.
Run Ocon on his own, he'd still fall out with his teammate.
He would. Which is why I'm not entirely sure it's a good idea to bring Fernando Alonso back for a start.
Or Maldonado.
Maldonado doesn't matter. You crash into anyone. It doesn't matter who he is. You could put Sebastian Vettel in that car. It wouldn't matter. Pastor Maldonado would find a way. Ocon's not going to play a team game with anyone who's his teammate, I don't think. So I think Renault would have to look a little bit further into the future. I'm now starting to think it's going to be someone like Guan Yu Zhou.
I said Guan Yu Zhou the first time we started talking about this.
You did.
You did. You certainly did. Yeah, and I think he's got to be the choice for the seat, first choice anyway. Bringing Alonso back is a very romantic idea. Is it the best thing for Renault? Probably not. So they're probably going to bring him back because they never do the right thing. So,
but is it the best thing for Alonso? Probably not.
And Alonso
I think it's either going to be Bottas or Alonso.
I mean, Bottas's agent has been in talks with, well, practically the entire grid.
Renault and Williams, I read in an unsubstantiated tweet.
I did see something on a Facebook group this afternoon claiming that his agent had been in touch with Red Bull, which you can instantly count as bollocks.
No, I mean I think every driver agent will be in touch with every team.
Yeah.
You know, it's their job to send emails out, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, it's when it gets made out as having made serious inquiries. No, it's the agent going, any seats free? All right, okay, fair enough. See you next year.
Well, here's an interesting thing then, because if you're saying that Bottas may go to Renault for 2021, that obviously leaves a seat open at Mercedes. Now, the vast majority of people would think that George Russell would take that seat up in 2021. However, there appears he may have let slip that he has signed for Williams for 2021 already. I don't know if his contract...
Yeah, he signed multi-year when he re-signed last year.
Right, okay, so he's already got multi-year contract. It wasn't like a one-year thing.
No,
because that was the only other thing I could
generic
think of.
multi-year.
I mean, he has made. I've seen him make a couple of jokes on various videos where he's dressed in full Williams gear, doing promotional stuff, and saying, "And don't forget, guys, you've got me here for years and years."
I think it's very much a Bottas situation, isn't it? Where he's there, but if Mercedes wants him somewhere else, he can go there.
Oh, I'm sure there's a get-out clause in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he is a Williams driver until Toto says he isn't.
Well, I think George has got all the potential in the world, but I do think it might be stupid sticking him in a Mercedes now, in next year, because, I mean, Williams aren't going to do anything great this year, you wouldn't have thought. So he needs that mid-grid team, really. He does need to let him see where he's up to. Even like Leclerc could show what he could do a bit better in the Sauber. It doesn't need to be like all of a sudden in like the third best of car on the grid, but just something that isn't a second off everybody else, where you're only beating a man who was essentially retired years ago.
Yeah, he needs a year in a team that's sort of kind of getting into Q3 points every now and then, like a Racing Point.
Yes.
If they didn't put a Stroll in there.
Yeah, I think that's why he's been put up against. That's why I think Nicholas Latifi is in this year, because Latifi's been around for years, hasn't he? Sort of test driver, on the verge of Formula One. He's kind of like the new age Sergei Sorokin. But
shit ton of money just couldn't buy a full-time seat.
Pretty much. But then, but we know Latifi's got some pace, so it'd be. I don't think anybody really saw Kubica against Russell as a true measure of Russell's talent in Formula One. So I think Latifi, who is okay, he's not done like a full race in Formula One or anything yet, but he's a known quantity amongst many people on the grid. So,
well, Latifi and Russell have raced each other in F2, so you can actually get some kind of comparison.
Yeah. Again, though, Latifi's been one of those, as I say, he's been on the cusp of Formula One for years. Now that he's finally broken through in the Williams team, I think it's a bit of it's a good evaluation to see what what George is actually going to be like against somebody who is also quite highly rated in the junior ranks.
And I think we'll get a better chance to see that in probably 2022 if they are still teammates. I mean, with the whole sort of development freeze on between now and effectively the end of next year.
Well, this is the thing.
The Williams is still a work in progress. You know, everything that came out of testing was it's better than it was last year. It's like, well, that's not hard, even though making a Formula One car these days is difficult. Thank you, Paddy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But I think all of this hinges on Lewis Hamilton. I think Mercedes are waiting to see if they can definitely tie him down for another, I reckon, another couple of years. And as soon as that's signed, whilst the ink is probably still wet on the contract, then they'll probably make a move for a second seat and be a bit braver with it. But if for whatever reason they can't get Hamilton to sign the contract, or Hamilton decides he's going to take a year out and go windsurfing on the moon or whatever it is he wants to do, then I can.
That's the name of my new funk band, by the way.
Windsurfing on the moon. I've just realised there's no wind on the moon. But the sorry, I made myself laugh. But yeah, as soon as they sort that out, I think they'll be a bit braver with the second seat. But if they're not going to nail Hamilton down, or they're not sure about Hamilton, they may just want to hold on to Valtteri as a continuation thing, rather than. I'm not saying they'll make him a number one driver, but just for continuity purposes, holding on to Valtteri Bottas would be a good thing to do.
If they don't think Lewis is going to stay, if they don't think Lewis is going to stay.
If they don't think Lewis is going to stay, or if for some reason they can't get him to stay, hold on to Bottas and then maybe push George Russell into the other seat.
I think you'd be better off taking Vettel if you didn't think Lewis was going to stay.
I think if Lewis goes, they'd take
hold
Vettel.
On to Bottas.
Yeah, but Bottas is not going to win a world championship for you.
No, I don't even number two driver for whoever would come in as a number one.
But you might not be able to get your number one driver then. Right now you've got a 4-time world champion that's sat there, essentially wanting to prove himself, and he's German. I think the smart money for the Mercedes seat, no matter what, is Vettel right now.
But I also think that changing both drivers, so if they can't get Hamilton to sign for whatever reason, and I'm pretty sure he will, but if they can't get him to sign for whatever reason, I don't think Mercedes would look at changing both drivers.
Maybe.
It's always a risk in a top team when they swap both drivers out.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't get Hamilton and they did put Vettel in, I think they'd hold on to Bottas just to compare. We know what Lewis can do against Bottas. Let's see how Sebastian is against Bottas.
Well,
I think it would be more than that as well, because I think a new number one driver comes into the team. They're going to want they're going to want a good backup crew, and that number two driver is part of the backup crew.
Well, right,
yeah.
Let's just think about this for a split second, though, about the idea, because I mean, realistically, Lewis Hamilton in any of his interviews and stuff, like during the off period we've had, has given no indication that he wants to leave Formula One. If anything, he's said in interviews he's probably got another 2 or 3 years left in him. Why does anyone seriously think he's going to leave before 2022? Because with the car freeze as well, Ferrari appear. I mean, things change, but Ferrari appear to have fucked it from the vibe of the team and the what they were doing in testing. Red Bull appear to be better, but don't seem to be title contenders. you've got to think that Lewis Hamilton might be looking at 2 years here, thinking this is Schumacher's record equaled and beaten.
Yeah.
Short order here.
I mean, I guess it all depends on what he gets offered from Mercedes. If he wants to do two more years at the very most, and they want him to do 4, then there might not be any middle ground, which would be 3.
No driver gets signed for 4 years these days, do they?
Charles Leclerc did, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, just in general for contract, a general contract is like a 2-year contract, and even the second year's got options.
And it depends on the circumstances. I mean, you join Red Bull, you actually sign a 10,000 year one, and they choose when to release you.
I mean, I think Lewis Hamilton has more marbles to get to deal with here than even Mercedes do. He's an absolute marketing dream for Mercedes. He's one of those celebrities that's transcended the sport he's in. And to top off all the financial reasons you want to keep him in the sport, you want to keep him in your team, he also might possibly be the best driver of all time.
And you want that on your record, wouldn't you?
After Charles Leclerc, of course.
He's not even
but
worth
you'd want that
2
with your
battles.
team. You want it to be Lewis Hamilton, 8-time world champion, Mercedes powered for all of them, because then that totally trumps what Ferrari did in the early part of the century.
Yeah. You have the most successful driver that's ever been in Formula One doing it in the most successful team that's ever been in Formula One. Go on, sorry. I was just going to say you've done the dominance like that. You cannot be more dominant in the sport if that's what happens.
Yeah, technically speaking, Lewis Hamilton's already kind of ahead in that respect, because Schumacher's first world championship was with a Ford, the second world championship was with a Renault, and it was only the 5 that came after that were Ferrari powered. But it's so Lewis is one up in that respect anyway. But
I think Lewis's legacy stands better than Michael Schumacher's anyway, just purely of the fact that he hasn't cheated.
Yeah. Well, has he cheated? I don't know if he has.
Well, I mean, as far as driving into somebody to win a world championship, that's pretty up there.
At least once.
At least once.
Well, the one time it worked.
Yeah. Oh, you've hit him in the wrong place, my friend.
God, I love that bit of commentary so much. It's my favourite bit of sporting commentary of all time.
Martin Brundle.
And closely followed by the fact that even in my head, I can hear my dad shouting at the tally saying, "You didn't do it, you absolute bastard."
Yeah, I think the sound in our house is more about, oh, for fuck's sake, what's he trying to do?
I got up off the seat. I remember getting up off the seat when he did it, because I thought that Villeneuve had damage. And then, watching Villeneuve going past the pits without pulling in, because I was just expecting him to pull in and be damaged, and that was it. But watching him continue and Schumacher floundering in the gravel, I was just like, is this it? Is this the karma that we waited 3 years for?
I'd love to have been in Damon Hill's house. What was Mrs. Hill saying when she was watching that?
Something along the lines of get in. Possibly the sea. Right, next thing that we've got is new MD pending at Aston Martin. Now, this is Aston Martin, the car manufacturer, and not the F1 team as yet.
Yes, so this is the company that Lawrence Stroll is the majority shareholder in. He officially took charge of that, I think it was last month, and is apparently going to replace Andy Palmer with a gentleman called Tobias Moers, not quite sure how we're saying that, but he is currently from Mercedes.
Strengthening the Aston Martin Mercedes ties.
Well, Andy Palmer was the Aston Martin guy who was doing all the interviews when they had the tie-in with Red Bull. He was the guy in the pits who was wearing his Red Bull jacket and was very much looking forward to being part of the Aston Martin Red Bull Racing. The entity that never really properly took off.
Mm-hmm.
So Andy, you might recognize Andy Palmer as that guy who was in the pits, especially when was it the British Grand Prix where they bought the Aston Martin Valkyrie and Danny Ricciardo and Max Verstappen went round as sort of parade laps just to sort of unveil it.
Yes, I think they. I think we actually might use that as one of our cover pictures for a podcast.
Yeah,
when that happened.
So he was there and he was very prominent that weekend as well. I think that was 2017, maybe 2016, 2017. Must be 2017, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so for him to be, leaving his role, I guess you could say, not forced out by Stroll or just.
They have released a statement saying that they are reviewing their management team.
So binned.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what that means, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that the guy who got them into Formula One is being booted out, especially now that they're going to have their own team. But I suppose Lawrence Stroll knows Formula One quite well himself.
Coming from his background of Tommy Hilfiger, yeah.
Well, no, he's what was it? The Williams and now Racing Point, was it? It must be 3 years now. He's been in and around.
It was 2017. Stroll made his debut, so this would be year 4. Plus, obviously, Stroll would have been lurking for a couple of years before that, wasn't he? He was in the Williams garage for a bit before he actually made his F1 debut.
Mm.
Yeah.
Bought him a seat in the garage, then bought him a seat in the car. So, yeah, it looks like big changes afoot. I mean, Lawrence Stroll has... The only way to describe it is financially juggled $200 million for shares in the F1 team as well, which and now to be made available to his investor mates. Can't see Toto investing in that one because I don't think he'd be allowed.
That would be conflict of interest, wouldn't it?
Unless he had to get rid of all his Williams shares when he took on a board position in Mercedes. So
yeah,
I can't imagine that being allowed, even with a customer team and him being a non-voting shareholder as well of the parent company. Business is confusing,
especially Formula One business.
Yeah, if only there was somebody who could actually explain it properly.
There isn't.
No. Totally.
Flavio would be able to give us a pretty good rundown, I reckon.
No, he wouldn't. You have a conversation with Flavio Briatore, and by the end of it, you somehow invested in his new venture
and signed Alonso.
What was it that was discussed in the 3 legs 4 wheels quiz the other week? Flavio is in the house.
Oh yes, the Flavio Briatore is in the house club in Monaco.
Yeah, I bet the club doesn't even know anything about that. I bet he just put that banner outside and they've just been left there.
He is pretty much the only person who uses the hashtag.
Flavio is in the house, is it? Something like that?
Something along those lines, yeah. And he is pretty much... I searched it on Twitter, and yeah, he is pretty much the only person using it.
Well,
I'm going to do that right now.
I always took interest in what Mark Webber said about it, because when Flavio was banned from going in the paddock, because he was Mark Webber's manager, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. Mark Webber started managing himself after that, and when he was asked why he didn't find another manager, he said, because the only person I've ever found that's trustworthy in motorsport is Flavio Briatore.
What does that say for the rest of motorsport?
Yeah, Mark Webber's not one to mince his words either, is he?
No. That's what I thought. I thought, well, yeah, I'll take Mark Webber at face value on that.
That's a question along the lines of, well, which toe would you rather lose? Bloody hell. Right, talking of dodgy business dealings. Now, the cost cap has been agreed.
Hey, nothing about that's dodgy.
So teams can now not spend more than $145 million a year.
So $145 a year, that's not going to get them very far.
Get you a decent team in I don't know, one of the PlayStation
NASCAR.
games or iRacings. NASCAR would do it. So $145 million a year, but driver salaries aren't included in that, and marketing isn't included in that. I think there's a few other things as well. I'm just trying to find the restrictions or the loopholes.
So if driver salaries aren't included in that, and obviously driver salaries have to come from, well, they don't have to come from, but obviously they have to go through the team. How could it be that you could pay your drivers? Oh, hang on a second, I've just worked it out. Pay your drivers to do the marketing.
I don't know, but from the looks of things, Ferrari are getting ready to send out something in the region of 20 million promotional power units.
What?
Is this going to be like a really, really?
Oh wait, did you just buy a box of
business card?
cornflakes?
Just think, oh God, this box is heavy.
But yeah, is there going to be something like, we've got a sponsor on the rear wing, therefore the rear wing is promotional, so all aero development on it is marketing?
Welcome to Loophole City.
Yeah.
Yeah, because from what was said originally, marketing costs aren't included in there. So is bodywork design, manufacture, and development?
If you stick a logo on it, it's marketing.
Yeah.
This front wing was brought to you by Coca-Cola.
The Philip Morris MGUH.
How long is it before companies are going to start sponsoring certain gravel traps? When a driver goes into a gravel trap, and that spin by Sebastian Vettel was brought to you by Yamaha.
This is my dystopian nightmare, isn't it? It's just where everything has a company logo on it.
Anyone watched any of the NASCAR that's been going on for the last week or so? Right.
No.
The race out of the pit lane, when they have one of these competition cautions and the whole field goes under yellow and then everyone's allowed to dive into the pits because they haven't had practice or testing, or in some cases qualifying. So they're bringing a yellow flag after about 30 laps, and everyone makes a pit stop for adjustments on the car. And they have the race out of the pit lane is sponsored by an insurance company.
Oh, come on. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they had overtake. You know, that overtake, that pass was brought to you by B&Q.
Hey, there used to be a B&Q racing team in British touring cars back in the 90s.
Who was that? I don't remember B&Q touring car team.
Yeah, it was a guy called John Batchelor, who was a legendary nutter.
Is this off the Soups?
Yeah.
He was
one of that lot.
He was related to the family that made Soup.
Yeah, I vaguely remember John Batchelor.
The year before that they were B&Q Racing, they were sponsored. They were Top Gear, Top Gear racing team. They were sponsored by Top Gear the magazine, not the TV program, because there's such a difference there. And he was one of the.
I remember.
He was one of the drivers as well as being the team owner, and he changed his name by deed poll to get the sponsorship, and he was called John Top Gear for a year. Then the following year, he changed it again, and he was John B&Q.
But I didn't think you could have ampersands in your name.
He may have found a loophole. He then bought something very dear to my heart, York City Football Club, changed the name to York City Soccer Club, and changed the kit to put a checkered flag on one sleeve because of his racing heritage.
And everyone hated him forever.
Then the club went bust under his stewardship, went into administration, and the fans had to buy it out. He then tried to buy another Football League club, Mansfield Town, who he then wanted to rename Harchester United after the fictional team in the Sky One football soap opera Dream Team. Sky objected.
So when did York become an FC again?
About 3/4 of an hour after we got rescued.
Good.
Yeah, the guy was a little bit of a unique individual.
That's putting it politely.
Basically, yes. Say what I want about him. He died of alcohol poisoning a few years ago.
Really?
Yes. I don't think any of those business decisions were actually made while sober.
Got you.
So
You had to party hard.
When he liked to party, he did party hard. But yes, so you could have that overtake was brought to you by B&Q.
But not John Batchelor's B&Q.
But not John Batchelor's B&Q. No, he made a right soup of it.
Ooh.
Yeah, anyway. So, yes.
I'm lost. I don't know what's going on anymore.
That's good. I'll bring you back. So, cost cap for 2021 is going to be 145 million, which has been confirmed. And then over the next few seasons, it's being reduced. 2022, it's going to be 140. And then they're hoping that everything will be brought down to 135 million from 2023 onwards. And Ferrari have agreed to this, so there must be an absolute fuckload of loopholes. And everyone's gone quiet trying to think what the loopholes can be, but I think Sean's actually nailed it.
Yeah, everything will become marketing. Everything will be developed by technology companies rather than through the F1 team, and then suddenly an F1 application is found for development so that none of the cost of researching it goes towards F1.
Yeah. And of course, with Ferrari, their newly formed either IndyCar or WEC team
Great.
will be able to work on the technology side of things, because it now looks like Ferrari are actually thinking about pitching headlong into their own works WEC team, whether that's going to be the hypercars or the LMP1 replacements or whatever they are, or just ramping up the GT program.
Is this so that next time they quit Formula One, people might take them seriously because they've at least got something else to go to if they do?
Quite possibly, yes. So yeah, we could see Ferrari on a different kind of circuit in the next couple of years, because they've got all these staff that Italian law says that they can't lay off until their particular division starts making a loss.
Yeah, so like you said, you'll see the Philip Morris development company, which will work on technologies that just happen to be able to be applied to Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
And Alfa Romeo will have the Orlen Fuels technology division, which just happens to be putting their technology towards the Alfa Romeo team.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more partnerships between actual automotive technology companies and F1 teams.
Have Liberty, I know we shouldn't really call them Liberty anymore because they are actually Formula One as an entity.
Fwonk.
But have Formula One's American owners, Chase Carey and all them, have they underestimated what the length that Formula One teams will go to bend the rules to suit them?
You know that Simpsons episode where the Germans buy the nuclear power station, and they didn't think it would be so difficult?
Yeah,
those Germans are Chase Carey and co. right this minute.
I think you've got a situation where they want Formula One teams to stop spending so much money, but it's difficult to turn around and say to a company that's got the cash to spend that they can't do it anymore. So it feels like it's just we know you're going to spend more money than you're supposed to, but we're going to make it as fucking difficult as possible for you to do it.
Oh, we're going to make you jump through a few hoops to hide it.
No, I mean, because they'll still, even if they are even if there does have to be some creative accountancy to do it, it's still going to result in teams spending less money than they were.
on paper.
No. I mean, just in general, like they're not going to be able to smuggle through the difference. You know, they're not going to be able to all of a sudden fucking hide 100 million from somewhere. So they will make teams spend less money in the same way as you tell a kid that if he doesn't eat his dinner, he'll go to bed without anything to eat. You're never going to do that. That would be cruel. But you can try and force them into doing what you want them to do. Want you to do.
You've been really struggling parenting during the lockdown, haven't you?
Nah, it'd be all right. To be fair, we could have done a lot worse than Arthur.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what Liberty, F1, whatever, Kerry and Co are after trying to do this, because obviously there's a huge disparity in the amount that some teams spend compared to other teams, and what they want to do is try kind of make it as even as possible so that every team has an equal chance of building a race or championship winning car at the start of each season. Now, whether that car is actually capable of it by the end of the season, again, that depends on how much money you're going to throw into it during the course of the year, which is why, there's been these development freezes talked about, and I mean, we're looking at using the same cars and same spec of power units now up to the end of next year, when the new rules change.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is the 2021 regulations have been delayed. Not for the reasons that we actually thought they were going to be delayed in the first place, but rather than spend an absolute ton of money on new things that will only be usable for one season, then freeze the development. I've completely lost myself with where I was going with that one, but yeah, it just means now that the next couple of years we're kind of going to be in the same situation that we have been for the last year or 5, where the teams that haven't had the huge budgets still can't make the great car at the start of the season that's fast out of the blocks.
Yeah.
But now they're going to be in a position, and I'm particularly looking at sort of the Racing Point organisation in this one, because we've said all along Force India were traditionally better in the second half of the season when the money came in and they could actually put the work into the car. And what happened with the end of Force India and the start of Racing Point, it's going to have had a knock-on effect. And I think that, without seeing what the pink Mercedes is actually capable of, I think they could end up being stuck in the same position that they're in right now. Whereas you get McLaren, who are on the bounce back, and they finished 4th in the Constructors' Championship last year, and they've got the money to plough into this year's car. And if it turns out that was the right amount of cash, then they're good for next year as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a question about the winnings as well, isn't it? Like you say, the teams at the top are going to get the bigger winnings, and they're going to have legally, in inverted commas, more money to put into the team for the following year.
Yeah. So, I think putting a flat cap in is a good idea. It's
a flat cap?
it makes it more northern. Yeah. Hey,
Northern Formula One.
Formula Whippet, lad. Street races around Dewsbury. I can see it happening right now. Sorry, I've become even more Yorkshire. Yeah, I think putting the cap in is a good idea because it balances things out. But it's how well it's going to be stuck to it, and how many loopholes are Ferrari looking for right this second.
Oh, it won't just be Ferrari though.
Oh no, I'm using them as an example because they're always the best at it. But how much extra scrutiny? Sorry, Lee, go on.
Sorry, go on, mate.
No, how much extra scrutiny are Ferrari going to be under for the last time they tried to exploit a loophole, and there was nothing to see here.
But depending where all these teams are after like almost a full year of not racing, and then what's going on like financially in the world after this, these teams could be all quite happy to pull back the reins a little bit on cost, and it might stop. It might be one of those situations where a company like Ferrari will grumble about it, but secretly in the back of their mind they'll be thinking, "Oh, thank fuck, we don't have to spend all that money again."
Because nobody's buying their cufflinks.
I know, yeah. No one's always buying the cufflinks. Nobody's Nobody wants the T-shirts.
One other thing that is happening, though, is there's going to be... I read this as aerodynamic handicaps, but it's not as simple as that. It's not like, well, you've got to have more wing angle if you're doing well. What they're actually going to bring in, and this one hasn't been ratified by the World Motorsport Council yet, but the teams have approved, is that lower performing teams are going to be allowed more wind tunnel and CFD development time. So
that kind of makes sense.
Sounds good. Yeah.
That I think is a really good idea because it's a flat limit for everyone at the moment.
Yeah, it's like the going back to the touring cars thing we were talking about before. It's like the old ballast with touring cars, isn't it? The winners would get ballast put in, so the cars were heavier and therefore slower for the next race. But it's almost like
they still do that.
They still do that now.
Yeah, I was watching some. I think it was the finale at the end of the season. I think they had 4 races over the course of a weekend, and by the time of the 4th race, there was about 7 or 8 cars all carrying ballast because they'd all got podiums over the weekend.
Yeah, it's a good idea because it changes it up.
I'm sure they do it in I'm sure they do it in the GT class in WEC as well.
Rings a bell.
The only problem with that is that you get a freak result for somebody and then they're fucked for the rest of the season.
No, they're fucked for that next race because they only have it for the next race and then that's
it's just a race. Is it?
Yeah.
Thinking like imagine like Williams got that podium and stuff with Lance Stroll, and that's them done for the season.
Well, yes, their handicap is Lance Stroll.
And they were done for the season after that podium that he got.
It's just fucking insert random Kubica joke. I can't even be bothered saying it.
The other thing that's going to be allowed as well is open source parts. Now, there's not a great deal of explanation of this, but apparently they're going to be able to download engine components or car parts from Wikipedia.
No, I love the idea of this, that it's what it means is that no one's allowed to use either Mac OS or Windows, and everybody's got to run Linux.
Formula Penguin.
I think it's something...
The thing is...
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, the thing is this not Formula Flood, where everybody knows what everyone else is using?
I seem to recall you being a big champion of that several years back. Round about the time that Dan was leaping up and down going, Linux.
That's where he's gone.
But yeah, I think that's what this is, isn't it? Is that essentially all your designs are available to everyone for them to use if they want, or something along those lines. I don't think it's quite that all-encompassing, but...
Seems to work well between Mercedes and Racing Point from what we saw in testing 2 years ago in February.
For those newer listeners who don't know what Formula Flood is, a few years ago we each had a go at reinventing Formula One, and Lee has been mostly right with the direction Formula One has actually taken. But I just said, here's a box. Put your car in that box. It doesn't matter how fast you make your car, but you're not allowed to hide anything on it. Everybody has access to everything that you've done on your car, so that if you are faster, they can copy it if they want to. And that was literally it.
Kind of went well in the 70s and early 80s, because you got some bizarre results when there wasn't anywhere near as much secrecy going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think that is about all we've got on the news stuff for this week. But again, it's great to actually have F1 things to talk about.
It's winding up, isn't it?
Yeah,
we've
run.
Like we're close, doesn't it?
We've run nearly an hour of F1 into tonight's show. This is record breaking.
It's like a proper Formula One podcast. Just a second ago, when Flood turned around and said, for listeners that don't know, I almost thought you were going to say, for listeners that don't know what Formula One is, many years ago we used to send cars around a circuit.
We do that.
We might have to do that, you know.
Well, we did that virtually last night on iRacing.
We did.
Yeah, we had the 90 minutes of Le Mans, the second leg of our Triple Crown after the not quite 500 a couple of weeks ago. I'll tell you, I'm really enjoying sim racing at the minute.
I'm looking forward to having a clean race on one of these without something going fucking drastically wrong. And I have a feeling it's going to be this weekend because I've enjoyed driving that F3 car.
Yep,
and I like Spa. I know it.
The third leg of the Triple Crown. We've had to be a little bit creative with this one because there isn't the Monaco circuit on iRacing for various logistical reasons. Like it only exists for 5 days a year, and they haven't had time to scan it, which kind of makes sense. So we're going to have the third leg, which has to be an open wheel F1 circuit, but as none of us are experienced enough to do F1 cars on there, it's going to be we're doing F3 cars round Spa. So we're calling this, with it being the third leg of the Triple Crown and it being Formula 3 cars, the Belgian Grand 3.
We need fucking words with our marketing department.
What, for cost-saving accountancy reasons? Or?
Do you want to buy some cufflinks?
We need them to set up a development company that specialises in technology, specifically to do with aerodynamics, if possible. And we'll call it whatever the sponsor's name is, Developments.
I thought that was a good
I'm
name.
as guilty as this was the next man. But what is it with titles of things involving podcasts and puns?
It's a hobby. I just want to say the title of last week's show, that wasn't mine. That was sent in by a listener who I did give credit for on the webpage. And Lee, I'd have thought with your love of a driver with a good hair game, calling an episode "Here Comes the Signs Bit."
I didn't see that, to be honest. I hadn't seen what it was called.
Dedicated to the cause.
Amazing name for an episode.
Yeah, it is. That's fucking brilliant, and it's funny as well. So you can tell none of us thought of it.
Yeah, that is actually true. But for anyone that's joining in with the iRacing, it's going to be 8:00 UK time on Sunday, and it's going to be 25 laps of Spa in the Dallara F3 car. I'm really looking forward to it. Going to stream it again, Lee, because I think I am.
Yeah, I'll be streaming it again on Twitch. I'm slow. My Twitch stream is slowly getting smoothed out. I've had slight issues for the last two, but the next one should be fine.
Yeah, same here. I'm gonna work on a few things, like being able to put the camera on an actual tripod and it not falling off because the tripod mount and the camera actually broke on me on Sunday, so everything was held together with gaffer tape. Yeah, the worst thing is it's worked webcam. So I need to get that repaired before I go back into the office. Right, we have done some shameless filling, and I'm going to do a little bit more, actually, while we're on the subject of video game stuff. No new Formula Lee challenge this week. We're extending the last one from 2 weeks ago, Monaco in the wet, in a 2019 McLaren, for another week, because I'm in the process of swapping over from my old laptop to my new one. I've not transferred everything over yet, so I need to move all my spreadsheets.
Very important.
You love spreadsheets.
As spreadsheets is one of my main hobbies, I'm looking forward to some quality me time when I can do that.
Lee is coughing in the background there.
You've taken the breath away from him.
He has a cold.
Yes, there's no. I'm far too bunged up and snotty for it to be Big C, Little V.
You're looking for a new job. I hope you're not too bunged up and snotty to read out the questions from a Total Shunt, though.
No, I'm ready, and this is from someone that's never sent it in before, so I'm going to do it. But there is only 9 questions.
But do we get a drum roll for how you're going to mangle their name?
No, it's from Mitchell Scott.
That's a cycling team, isn't it?
I thought it was Mitchelton Scott.
And it's Mitchelton Scott, yes.
It's from,
right, well, that's not how it's written here.
It could be Mitchell for short, I suppose.
No, I don't think it's the actual cycling team that's submitted a Total Shunt.
It would be Mitch, wouldn't it, for short? You know what? If this Total Shunt is the team Mitchelton Scott.
I was born.
Yay.
In 1977.
Okay.
I have raced in Formula 1 with 3 different manufacturers.
Right.
Excuse me. Okay, so we're looking at, if it's a driver, we're looking at somebody who probably retired within the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah, you would have thought so.
Oh, I can actually. One of the questions I'm going to split in two, so there is 10. During my time in Formula One, I've scored one podium.
Lance Stroll.
People who scored one podium.
Pedro Della Rosa?
He's be older than how old would he be? 43?
43. I don't know. Retired sometime in the last 10 years.
I think he was like 40 when he did his last race, wasn't he? Like 2012.
He did a race. Didn't he do a race where he filled in for Sergio Perez?
Yeah, when Perez was injured.
Yes, and he was driving for Sauber but in his McLaren overalls, and it was very confusing.
Very last minute.
Yeah, he might be a little bit older.
So I'm just trying to think
how old would Kamui Kobayashi be now?
I don't think he's quite that old. I think he's late 30s. Mid to late 30s.
Okay.
Just trying to think teams that Pedro de la Rosa's driven for. Sauber, obviously.
Arrows, McLaren.
And McLaren. I think that might be it.
Yeah, maybe.
Should we go with that as a first guess?
He did do something for one of the arse end of the grid teams, didn't he? Like a Caterham or a Marussia or one of those.
HRT.
Was it HRT?
Yeah.
I think,
probably not the Pedro Della Rosa then.
Although we'd probably want to forget that happened, and that's why he said he only drove for 3 teams. But in the absence of anything better, should we go with that as a first guess?
Yeah, I mean, strictly speaking, he was never signed for Sauber, was he? They just borrowed him.
No, I think they had him. They actually had him as a racer a few seasons back. Before then, but I still
let's go with it.
But I still
Pedro
can't
de la
think.
Rosa was the first guess.
Yeah.
I have scored 44 points.
That doesn't help. Okay.
In 2005, I qualified in the top 10 on 7 occasions.
Yeah, it could be De La Rosa.
Yeah, it's feasible. Who would he have been driving for in 2005?
That would have been his Sauber years, wouldn't it?
Yeah, when Sauber would occasionally sort of surprise people by sometimes coming out with a fast car.
Just before they became BMW Sauber. So yeah, I think De La Rosa was driving for them then.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Do you need a guess on this one, or?
I think that's 5.
No. Another question. Another 2, isn't it? I think. At one point in my career, I was teammates with an Italian.
Well, that doesn't narrow it down.
So around about that time, the Italian could have been Liuzzi or Fisichella. Trulli. Yeah, there's a few options, isn't there?
Did Liuzzi race for HRT alongside De La Rosa in their first season?
I don't think he was HRT. I think, was it Narain Kartikeyan that they had alongside De La Rosa?
Yeah, sounds more feasible,
Was
doesn't it?
Liuzzi with Caterham?
Jarno Trulli went to Caterham with Heikki Kovalainen.
Yes. So was he with Virgin?
Maybe.
Christ, that team went through some names, didn't it?
Yeah. In its short existence in Formula 1.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, Jarno Trulli is Italian. Heikki Kovalainen, he's not going to be 43, is he?
He's not, and I think he has more podium.
Yeah, he has more than one podium. One race win, but I think more than one podium.
And I don't think he was. Was he about in 2005?
He was not. He made his debut same year as Hamilton.
Yeah, good point.
Tiago
and their careers
Montero.
mirrored each other since.
Oh,
Was it Tiago Montero? did you
Tiago
just say then,
Montero. I did just say that.
yes.
Because he's the non-Ferrari in the Indy disaster race.
Yeah,
isn't
he was the one who actually celebrated because Schumacher and Barrichello buggered off, and yeah, Montero kept going mad and spraying the champagne over all 3 remaining fans.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was his only podium, wasn't it?
I think so.
Driving for Jordan.
which were really actually Midland at the time.
Were they?
Yeah, Midland had actually bought the team at the start of the 2005 season and then renamed them for 2006. But they couldn't rename for the 2005 season
but they
because
were still Jordan in 2005 then.
Yeah, the Midland owned Jordan team because EJ had already left by that point.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah, Thiago Montero's a good one.
Yeah, that is a damn good shout.
I think if we still got one more before we officially do a guess.
I think that was number 6, wasn't it?
No, it was number 5. Oh, sorry, yes, it is number 6 because I had an extra one in. So I split one, didn't I? Yeah, I would like a guess.
Montero?
Thiago Montero.
I was a national cycling champion at high school.
That doesn't help.
No.
Wait, is it Mitchelton Scott?
I have won the Indianapolis 500.
Okay, so
Sato?
Kuma Sato
would be. He doesn't have a podium though, or does he? I can't think of it.
I think he does. I think he had a podium in BAR days.
Ah, possible. Yes, I
before
forget
they
about
became really terrible. But then they went really good again and started winning championships.
I think it could be.
Mm-hmm.
I have 12 wins and 9 poles to my name in IndyCar.
That would sound about right.
Yeah.
I am the first person of my country to win an IndyCar race.
Gotta be.
No.
Shall we go for it?
Can do.
Are you Takuma Sato?
I am Takuma Sato.
Nice.
Yay.
Good effort, team.
Yeah.
Yay us. And the usual question following one of these, how do you send in a total shunt?
You can tweet me in a private message at a total shunt. You can send me a private message on Instagram. I'm also a total shunt on there, and I will read them out and I'll butcher your name.
That is cool. And if you want to get in touch with the rest of us, you can get us at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And individually, we are
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
and at Pablo100. Right, we'll be back same time next week, and I mean, at this rate, we'll have another show with lots of F1 in there.
Let's hope so.
More Maldonado speculation.
Oh, that would be excellent. And
Maldonado's for Renault confirmed.
and I don't think we're all that far away from actually being in the same room to record again. I think I can see that happening by the end of next month.
We can do it as a
would
three-piece
hope
at the
so.
moment, technically.
Yeah, technically we could, under Isle of Man restrictions, we could actually do it with 3 of us as long as 2 of those people are me and Sean.
Or
Yeah.
we would be allowed to go to the official podcast room if Flood was unavailable.
Yes.
But I think it's worth pointing out that the Isle of Man, which is obviously where we are based, is light years ahead of the UK in terms of relieving the lockdown.
Yeah, very much different situation.
Before we start getting emails like, "What are you thinking? Putting yourselves in the same room?" The Isle of Man's had its own lockdown rules, and we are doing okay.
We're not doing too bad. And I just want to say to everyone who listens to us in South Africa, from next Monday, you will be able to say cheers.
Yes, finally.
Finally. Yeah. Niska, I will raise a glass to you and you'll be able to raise one back.
Absolutely.
Right, we're gonna get this. This will be out Monday for everyone on Patreon. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels. Sign up from as little as $1 a month, and you get the show early. And then when we get back to normal recording, you get an extra show, and you can listen to it live through Discord at the moment, and all sorts of extra benefits as well. And we'll be reworking the Patreon benefits very soon as well, because I've had a couple of ideas which we'll chat about during the week. Anyone that's knocking around on Discord now, we'll jump onto the chat channel and have a natter. Chris, you joining us?
Yeah, should be able to for a little bit. Yeah.
Yep. And Lee.
I'm taking my coldy ass to bed because I want to lem sit.
Rock and roll.
Oh, party every day. Right, see you all on Twitch Sunday at 8:00 for the Belgian Grand 3.
Absolutely. I'm not going to win it. I'm not even going to lie. But I'm not going to crash as much.
You might win it.
Might win it.
Yeah,
you never know.
That's what I'm hoping as well. But until then, stay safe and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.